Greetings, hi, and hello everyone. My name is Jason Petit-Frere. I'm a speaker, I'm a podcaster, and my life's work is centered around allowing the world to meet the true you by helping you think, speak, and eventually live better than yesterday. We do this first by establishing a good reason why, a strong and powerful motivation to keep going when the going gets rough. Second, we need awareness and acknowledgement of what's holding us back. And third, we need scalable steps forward as a reliable bridge between who we are right now and who we need to be tomorrow and the day after that, and the day after that, and the day after that. This, my friends, is how you go from stuck to thinking as, speaking as, and living as the true you. Greetings, hi, and hello, everyone. Welcome back to the TRU-U podcast. This is part 3 of the TRU Awakening miniseries. And if you don't know what that means or what's happening or what the heck is going on, please go back to part 1 and part 2 and then make your way over to part 3, which is this one. Wait. Is this part 3? Okay, yeah, it's part 3. Okay, the recording thing still says part 2. I haven't changed the title, so it kind of confused me for a second. But this is part 3, and we're jumping right into quote number 3. This is a quote. Oh, my name's kind of blocked off. Oh, it's actually anonymous, so no person to credit this to, but it is a good quote nonetheless. It says, "If you resist reading what you disagree with, how will you ever acquire deeper insights into what you believe? The things most worth reading the things most worth reading are precisely those that challenge our convictions." I think that is just a beautiful quote, guys, and absolutely true. Now, let me read it one more time and we can break it down. If you resist reading what you disagree with, how will you ever acquire deeper insights into what you believe? The things most worth reading are precisely those that challenge our convictions. Now, my personal take on this short version would be, as humans, we cannot be relied on to ever be 100% correct in what we say, think, or do. That is why we must always be striving to improve, to learn, to grow. Despite what your wife, what your husband, what your girlfriend, what your boyfriend, what your whoever, what your parent, what your sibling, whoever tells you, no one is ever born perfect. At least no 100% human. Well, there goes my brain again, trying to fill in the holes because Christ was 100% man and 100% God. So man. Okay, if you listen to part 2, then you know why. You know why I'm like this. The end of part 2 explains why I'm struggling right now, but let me get back on task. I'll say again, as humans, we cannot be relied on to be 100% correct in what we say, think, or do. Sometimes when you are just simply repeating truth, not subjective, but objective, irrevocable truth, that is correct. That can be 100% correct. But then again, there's always our application of truth or our interpretation of truth, which in and of itself is not truth. It is opinion. And so let's tie this into discovering oneself, or true awakening, as our main topic guides us to. What is it about reading something that you disagree with that can serve you in discovering who you truly are or how you actually function? The first thing I would say is to pay attention to how you feel about it. How does your body react? Do you feel any warmth or heat or discomfort anywhere? Does your head get tight? Does your nose crinkle up? Does your gut get all up in a knot? Do you just get this irresistible urge to go correct or to admonish or to oppose or to fight, to rectify? Are you a quote unquote champion of justice whenever you hear something you disagree with? Or is it more something that causes you to pause and think? Does it give you an opportunity for reflection? Or at the very least, since it always gives you an opportunity for reflection, do you recognize the opportunity for reflection? Once again, I'll read the quote. If you resist reading what you disagree with, how will you ever acquire deeper insights into what you believe? Before I get into the second part, let's break that part down. That implies the truth that reading something that you disagree with, it almost forces you to validate to yourself why what you believe is so true, or is true to you, or is accurate to you. And it's in that validation to yourself that you either discover, yes, it is even more true to me or even more valuable to me than I initially thought, or, oh my gosh, in my explanation, it actually didn't make complete sense to me. So I just believed this, or I just took this at face value originally, but there's a hole here. Those are one of the two typically outcomes that you'll encounter when you have to validate to yourself your beliefs in the face of reading or being exposed to something or someone that you disagree with. Disagreement, as long as you start with curiosity as opposed to offense, is the perfect gateway to either discovering the need for course correction or discovering an even greater passion and stability in your belief. And it's a win-win, guys, when you think that way, guys and gals. If you think that way, if that is your mindset, it is always, always a win-win. It may be painful and uncomfortable encountering an opposing view, absolutely, and especially when it has to do with family members or people that you feel emotionally involved with. It is difficult to hear an opposing view, but as long as you don't start with offense, or as long as you don't heavily rely ever on just offense and you start with curiosity, why did you say that? Or what makes you think that way? Or I wonder, what's been your experience in this area that has brought you to this conclusion? If they are then proven to be correct in what they say, guess what? You are now switching your mindset, changing your view, and no longer by your own admittance incorrect, which is a win. You fixed a problem that you previously were not even aware of originally existing. You just believed. So if they were correct, then, hey, you won. You course corrected. Now, if they were not correct, guess what? It's still a win for you, because in validating or proving that your point or your view or whatever was correct, and it's not always about winning that fight, by the way, but bear with the example, in proving either to them or to yourself at the very least that your views are not overly impacted by personal bias and actually backed by historical fact or by proven actionable principles in life, and it's not just opinion, then guess what? That makes you even more confident in what you originally believed in the first place. That makes you better equipped to defend it in the future. That makes you that much more zealous in being able to operate in whatever industry or field that belief allows you to operate in. That is also a win. So starting with curiosity, start with why, as opposed to offense. That equips you to being someone on the path of perpetual, endless growth and improvement. And guess what? That in and of itself is a beautiful discovery of how powerful and in control you can be. That is one of the most beautiful signs of maturity that anyone can ever exhibit, is to hear something that they don't believe in, to tilt their head to the side and say, that's interesting. I never thought of it that way. Can you elaborate a little bit more? Can you go into why you're feeling hurt about this? Even if they just insulted you to your face and called you names and said you were this, you were that, you were inconsiderate, you were selfish, blah, 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 you. If you can just That sounds like a lot. I'm sorry that, everything that I said or everything that I did is making you feel this way. Can you tell me exactly what it is about what I said that triggered these feelings for you? Or can you tell me why you reacted the way you did when what I said was this? You're not immediately going into defending yourself and saying, all I did was fill in the blank, or all I said was fill in the blank. Why are you over fill in the blank? It is a beautiful and mature thing when you're able to start with questions. And that is something I myself am striving to. I was about to say master, but I ain't even there yet. Guys, your boy is sometimes quick to pull the trigger and respond, and that is not good. That is not a good trait of mine. When it comes to people that I either don't live with or that I don't have a personal relationship with, I am one of the most diplomatic people you'll ever meet. I'm in control. When it comes to someone that I love or that I know loves me and dealing with hurt in that area, I tend to be a bit more quicker on the draw. And that has often prompted me to overcorrect and simply be more silent and recluse in my response. And by recluse, I mean I retreat into myself under the pretense of taking time to think, which I do need. But when I quote unquote overindulge, which by the way is something we address in part 2, when I overindulge in that, it creates the front or the impression that I've shut down or that I'm shutting the other person out. And instead of asking questions, I try to figure things out on my own, because I feel like asking questions is just going to bring up more points that get on my nerves or that offend me or that hurt me or whatever. And I'm afraid of the answer, so I don't ask. Is it possible that all these fights that we see today, especially politically or social justicely, it gets so intense and so violent sometimes because people are afraid of getting hurt by what they hear? People are afraid of being maybe wrong or being told or having proven to them that their views are probably not the most productive. So out of fear, they react harshly and violently. I know I have. And as a result, I've hurt people in my life that I shouldn't have hurt in the way that I did. That I knew better than to hurt in the ways that I have. And those have been areas and relationships in which I've had to repent and still am in the process of repenting from and mending. It's a lot of work. And I certainly wish, I selfishly wish that I was just built different, to put it, succinctly. I wish, foolishly, that I wasn't me. And that's not right. Because it's not fair to how fearfully and wonderfully made I am. This is something, again, that I addressed in part 1, that I've discovered about myself, and I'm still on that journey of controlling, of mastering. Because again, it's not just about self-discovery, it's about self-mastery upon discovery. Because you don't want to jump into self-mastery and trying to, I need to do this when I wake up. I need to do that before I go to sleep. And that's going to help me master myself. If you don't know how you function in the first place, you're mostly going to be wasting your time and everyone else's. Because for a horse that is great at acceleration, spending a ton of time or even the same amount of time on acceleration drills as opposed to uh, an ability to maintain a certain top speed type of drills is inefficient. And what I mean by that is working on speed versus endurance. Those are two different beasts. So if you have one horse that's better at maintaining high top speeds, but it is not great at picking up speed very fast, so its acceleration is wanting, you would work more so on acceleration if you're trying to round it out. Or if you're trying to create a specialist, you would keep going on endurance drills. You know, there are different ways to attack this. But nonetheless, what educates you the best on how to train someone or how to adjust how you live your life or how to adjust how you operate with people around you is by first discovering how you operate in the first place. What are your natural tendencies? What are your natural propensities, right? If you don't know that, then you would just be diagnosing and medicating yourself on a disease or not even a disease, a condition or a state of being. You'd be nourishing yourself without the knowledge of what your body is proficient or deficient in. It's not always about you being broken in a certain area. Yes, we have areas that we're broken in, but it's having a problem in a certain place doesn't always mean that you're just straight up broken there. Sometimes it just means that you have not learned enough about yourself, that you are mismanaging or misdiagnosing what you really need. And that is like, it falls right into the cycle, the self-perpetuated cycle of being impatient with yourself, then hating yourself because you feel broken and you don't understand yourself, and that causes you to not adapt properly to how you function. And then when other people judge you, you take that to heart and you internalize it, and then it manifests again and again and again into just this. You get it. Something tells me you get what I'm talking about. So, I think that's enough for quote number 3. For part 4, we'll go into our final quote as well as the final verse, I guess, or the only verse, Sis, that I'm going to be reading, and we'll wrap it up with that. I was thinking of probably making it like wrapping it up at 30 episodes. But it is what it is. It does. I don't feel like I should be scrunching these up and compressing them. So I pray that this has been a blessing to you and that it has woken some of you up. Maybe not just in, oh man, this is a good thing to think about. No, not just that. I want those of you that have been struggling and hating yourselves because of it to realize, hey, you're not alone. I have gone through many seasons in my life, as confident as I sound right now, as adept in speech as I am right now. I have gone through many a time in my life where I have loathed the reflection in the mirror, where I have hated my own guts, where I have thought to myself, why am I like this? With tears in my eyes, crying out to God, why? And so much of that, not all of it, but so much of that came from a place of a self-inflicted place of constantly beating myself up out because I did not understand my core makeup. So I could not predict how I would act in certain situations, and I could not understand how some fixes for others did not always work for me. For me, just trying harder, just applying more energy and effort and willpower doesn't always work. Sometimes I need a little more, or sometimes I need a different approach, a change of mindset as opposed to a change of energy input. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't want to rattle on too much, but I felt that there's somebody out there that needed to hear that. You're not alone. But even in that, I'm not just going to tell you, yeah, you're validated in how you feel. You are. to a certain degree. But don't just sit there. You are now aware and therefore responsible for the change that is needed in your life. Nobody else is going to do it for you. So take my hand. Let's walk this out together. I'm not walking you through it as if I'm some super guru or whatever. I'm saying take my hand to walk with me, because sometimes I get scared too, because sometimes I get nervous too. So let's walk together as fellow human beings who want better lives for ourselves and those that we love. Does that make sense? Okay, good. Thank you for agreeing and saying out loud that that makes sense and nodding all at the same time. Good job. All right. Thank you, friends. Thank you, family. I appreciate your time. Thanks for listening. I look forward to the next one. Hi friends, Jason here. I want to thank you again for your time investment of listening till the end. It seriously means a lot, and I would further appreciate knowing what you think about the show through either the like button or your own comments and DMs about what impacted you the most in this particular episode or in any other. The point is, I don't want you to be shy about taking the step to communicate all that. Lastly, I invite you to stay connected to this life-giving community by following or subscribing on whichever platform you prefer to watch or listen. You'll also find more nuggets of gold sprinkled here and there by looking up @JasonPF_TRU-U on all socials. Again, that's JASONPF_TRU-U. Let's learn to think, speak, and live as our true selves together.